There is a sixth dimension beyond that which is known to man. A multiverse as vast as eternity, as timeless as the infinity gems. It is the middle ground between the big two and the indie publishers, between sci-fi and mysticism, and it lies between the pages of the reader's imagination. At the summit of entertainment, the dimension of comics, where a humble service is held. We call this service the Gospel of Comics.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Gospel of Comics. I am your host, the Church of Failure, and with me, as always, is my trusty co-host and intern, Ayrton McCartney and Rune Knight. How you boys doing today?
So far, so good.
So good.
I'm doing as good as I am mandated to be required to do good by my boss.
Okay, good, excellent.
Hi, boss.
Excellent. As long as you're following the rules.
Fucking kiss ass.
Joining us here in the virtual studio, we have special guest Edwin Acevedo, a.k.a. The Ace. How are you doing this week, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Well, I've been better, but it cost more is my generic answer. So,
You know, I thought about stealing your answer just to
fuck with me, throw me off.
But yeah.
I got a backup if you ever do that.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah. So, anyway, we're here to talk about your upcoming book, The Ace, and I happen to have in my possession a video, a trailer for the book. Not up on Indiegogo yet.
No, not yet. But
Oh my
the
God.
Red Gaze ended up doing it for me, so just wanted to share it with the people and get them another look at the Ace.
All right. Well, I'll throw this in the live show chat for the panel here if they want to follow along with it. You know, the stream is always a little bit laggy, but I'll go ahead and get this queued up. Everybody, let me know when you are ready to go. Fucking autoplay.
All right.
For that YouTube.
I am ready.
All right. 3
Everybody mark off technical difficulties on your bingo cards.
technical difficulties on the bingo cards. Yep. And 3, 2, 1. Play.
When a young man in search of purpose stumbles across a shooting star, his life is altered forever. The alien remnant transforms him into the Ace, a super-powered armored being with wondrous capabilities. The Ace is a throwback to early 90s Marvel comics like Darkhawk, Sleepwalker, and Death's Head 2. This is the story of an average Joe thrown into alien and extraordinary circumstances. As he struggles to get a grip on his newfound abilities, bounty hunters from outer space come to collect his prize. The Ace is bringing the fun, weird, and fantastic back to comics. Don't miss out. Learn the origins of the latest sci-fi legend. The Ace.
With the armor.
A touch. Mostly, it's inspired by Darkhawk. Actually,
Oh yeah.
I'm a big '90s comic book fan.
But yeah,
And Darkhawk, the first 25 issues were I love those. I still hold them dear to my heart today. So
dropping the Death's Head 2 reference in there, that kind of got me giddy on the inside because nobody even knows that
Sleepwalker,
that's a real thing. Like
no, nobody knows any of those books, man. The thing is, the ones who know, they get it. Every time I mention somebody will be like, "Oh, Sleepwalker, I love him. I love Death's Head." They'll be like, "Yeah, there's not many of us, but the ones who know, they know."
No, there's like 7 of us.
I mean, I was getting a little bit of a Blue Beetle vibe, but the thing is that with that feeling, I'd be interested to see more because I wanna know how it's different than that. I'd want to dig into it.
But yeah, it's definitely it is somewhat similar in some aspects, but yeah, it's not not too much. It's only like a touch of inspiration, you'd call it.
Yeah.
So, real quick on the symbiotic relationship with the armor and whatnot, were you familiar with the Guyver property?
No.
That's a very similar trope that's used in that, and it always just
You're pulling my angle.
what, Guyver?
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up.
Oh, I thought I was the only nerd here that knew about the Guyver.
We reviewed it.
That's right, but I mean that doesn't mean you know about it.
I mean, are you talking about the movie? Because I've seen the anime because I'm a filthy weeb.
No, we reviewed the volume 1 with Captain Weeb.
Ah, okay.
Last
Well, because
year
I mean,
sometime.
the movie, you got to remember the movie. It's got Mark Hamill in it.
So,
So.
yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's a very similar thing, except it's biometric armor, so it literally just binds to your biology, and it's almost like spider sense activated. But no,
It's like if the Japanese did Venom with a lot of body horror.
especially. Tell us about the Ace. Obviously, we just saw the trailer, so we have a general idea. But tell us about the concept, where you came up with it, how you got here.
And if we're gonna have
Yeah.
action figures and a Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh, I would love
Oh,
nothing.
sweet.
But yeah, mainly the inspiration. Like I said, I grew up as a '90s comic book fan. You know, Spider-Man, X-Men, all the names and all the books that everybody knows. But the books that really made me fall in love with comics were actually the small books. You know, the Darkhawks, the Sleepwalkers, the Deathlocks. These weird kind of books that Marvel tried once in a time, and they never really tried again. But there's something about those characters that really kind of connected with me. There's some more than others. Like I said, I'm mostly like Darkhawk was like the really big influence. I love this idea of this young guy getting all this power, but he doesn't know exactly where it comes from, like what his limits are. And then he's thrust into fighting Hobgoblin for his first ever adventure. He meets Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's, kind of mad at him because he's tired of all these wannabe Punisher heroes popping up wanting to kill the bad guy instead of being like real heroes. And that whole kind of thing just really captured my imagination. You know, Danny Fingerhart did a great job with the writing. Mike Manley, even though he's got me blocked, I still got love for you. Uh, did a great job with the art. And, like I said, I've always have a fondness for those books. Anytime they bring him back for a special or he has a miniseries, I don't buy anything Marvel. Those are the few things that I've bought over the past like 10 years.
Right.
Just anything that's Darkhawk related, just how much I like the character. So when I came up with, I'm never gonna write Darkhawk, for tons of reasons. But I just thought, I wanted to do something like a bit of homage, but kind of put my own twist on it, kind of update it, and then kind of give it a new spin. So the story is about this young man called David Diaz. He just turned 21 years old, and he's kind of out of college, and he's trying to figure out what his purpose is in life. He had all these ideas when he was a kid about what he wanted to do, and then life, as always, throws you some curveballs. Now he's stuck in this situation. He doesn't want to get stuck in this small town working this regular job. He feels like there's something more out there for him, but he doesn't really know exactly how to go about it. So one night as he's going home from work, there's this shooting star crash lands in a park nearby. And he goes end up looking to see what's in the wreckage. And he finds this metallic object, and that's what basically leads to him being able to transform into this armored being that he himself calls the Ace. And yeah, the story basically jumps 6 months after he's had the armor, and this bounty hunter from space called Akula ends up finding him and wanting to take the power for himself. So he's got to face off his first real threat, and then basically fight for his life and his family. And I just thought that whole kind of idea, as I was putting it together, this has been in the works over 15 months. I really kind of took my time with this, try to make it as interesting and as like, I want to get the voices down, the dialogue down, each character down.
Right.
It's been a long process. I've had a lot of help, a lot of talented people. But yeah, now it's time to show it off to the world. It's launching late January. It's tentative. I don't have the lockdown date yet, just because I want to make sure the comic is completely finished by the time it launches.
Okay.
So that's my goal, and everything's on par right now. All the artists are doing a great job. We have a couple pages left. Everything looks on target for late January.
Who's your art team at current?
The main story is going to be done by Ibai Canales. I have an epilogue story that's done by Sweens from Oddity. And I just added a 4-page origin story for this character called Angelique, who's going to play a big role in Volume 2.
Okay.
That's done by How Comics. And I have a cover by Donald DeLay, which I wanted to show off to everybody.
Oh, definitely. I love delayed artwork. Great. Brutus is shipping and it's getting into people's hands now, so
Yes.
Everybody's kind of getting a feel for that. But that man put some time and effort into it. So
He did, and yeah, he did a killer job with the cover. I'm very excited about how everything came together. So
yeah, man. So sounds like you've been working on this for a while. So where did you actually get the idea? Like, was it just from the the books that you said you were inspired by? Like, did the character just kind of come to you, or was it something?
Did you take like a real good shit one morning and it just like hit you like an epiphany? Like, man, I gotta write this.
No, I never. That never happens to me when I'm taking a shit. I feel sad. Everybody tells me that's where they come up with their best ideas.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, but no. The main backstory is behind the character design and everything. Is that I was I was on Twitter like everybody else has been the last couple of years,
Right.
and no, I was using my face as my avatar, and that got boring because I see all these other people having cool avatars and stuff, and I was like, hey, maybe I should get one. So I reached out to Sweens because I knew Sweens. He did some Cyberfrog fan art, and we talked, and he's a really cool guy, really talented artist, and so I reached out to him about doing like an avatar. He was down, and then we kicked over some influences and some different things. I told him I was a big Darkhawk fan. Talked about a little bit about Green Lantern. We just kind of kicked around some ideas, and I honestly didn't expect him to design like a whole character. I just thought he'd like just draw up something and just kind of stick my face on top of it. But he ended up designing this very cool like Mandalorian kind of type character. And it really kind of blew me away. And I used it as an avatar, but the more I kind of got compliments on it and different kind of people, oh, that's really cool design. I'm like, yeah, this feels like there should be more to this. Like, this is too good of a design for me not to like do something more with it. So then I started getting some commissions done by other artists. Had Render Contender, Ibai actually did a piece for me. Passion for Drawing did a piece for me. All these different artists taking a little different take on it. And that's what kind of really inspired me. Like, this could be something more. So I just kind of started to slowly kind of start writing down ideas and really kind of flesh out. Like, all right, well, where does this armor come from? That's when I came out with the idea of like, him finding the object, a la, similar vibes to Darkhawk when he finds the armor. He finds the amulet somewhere, and then he ends up being able to transform. And just kind of, creating the character, David, like, kind of his backstory. Then, all right, he's got to fight somebody. And then I'm thinking, like, what other inspirations? Like, I want him to fight somebody who's imposing, powerful. And that's when I came up with this character, Kula, who's a tribute to Lobo and kind of big, brawny badasses of the 90s like that.
That's the big
and
shark
yeah,
guy,
it's
right?
just a process. Yeah, the big shark guy, yeah.
Yeah, I have a soft spot for big sharks. King Shark, always favorite of mine.
Yeah, he's absolutely great.
But so how?
Yes, Church. Tell us about your inner furry.
No. And technically, wouldn't that be a scaly?
I mean, fish are weird in that way.
Uh-huh.
I mean, but you and Troy McClure.
Usually, when fish start getting furry, that means the sushi's gone off.
That's right. So how big of a book are we talking here? You're talking Volume 1 and Volume 2 is already in the works. Well, at least in the planning stages or whatever. What kind of book length should we expect here?
The first one's gonna be 28 pages. There's gonna be 32 in total. There's gonna be some fan art and different kind of other kind of things I'm putting into it. I'm shooting to have it be fully 32 for Volume 2.
Okay.
But it's not gonna be anything like bigger than that. I want it to be able to kind of read, as a once a year chapter. So I'm trying to see if I can get down a schedule where I can finish all the artwork, everything ahead of time, and then launch it the next year. That's kind of my goal. So I'm looking to keep it down to about 32 pages.
It sounds like you've got a solid plan going. And one thing that I really like is that you not only have the character fleshed out, you've got the ideas going, and you're just the primary writer. Are you taking on any other like task or anything like that? Like a lot of people are.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just I'm writing it, and then I'm taking all the credit for my artist's great work.
Right.
I believe in the Stan Lee method.
Alright.
I give you the
Nice.
idea, you make it look great, and then I take all the credit for it.
Right, absolutely. I give you just a little bit of money to,
Mhm.
just to take it off. But we'll just say that it was
Nuisance
my
money.
brainchild. Here's some money. Don't raise problems.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
great thing about Canales is he's overseas, so he can't cause me any trouble.
You heard it here first, folks. Steal from your artist. No, but no, I really like the concept, and whoever came up with the logo, that was brilliant, using the inverted eye slot for the visor.
Yeah, that was how comics came up with that.
So that was pretty brilliant, and it really lends itself to it because again, you're using a piece from the actual character to implement it name and logo.
Yeah, it's, like I said, I've been very fortunate to work with a bunch of really talented guys. Every time these guys send me a finished page of art, I'm just like a little teenager again, Like, this is so cool. And then like, oh, wait, this is my comic book.
Right.
The guys are
I'm
like,
responsible
oh, that's
for
awesome.
this.
Yeah, it's like, they're like, I did a great job. They're telling them to draw this. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
No, I really like the concept. I think that it's going to do really well once you get it launched. You're a pretty well known guy over in the Comicsgate fandom, so I don't think you'll have a hard time drawing some support.
Yeah, man, I've been thankful for everybody who signed up for the mailing list so far. I do want to keep pushing that. I know that there's tons of projects that have come out, and sometimes I ask people to double check because I know that I signed up for tons of mailing lists, but there's been some that I've gone back to and just let me just double check, make sure I'm signed up for this. I'm like, no, I was not signed up for this.
Right.
So if you guys want to go take a look, sign up. Just make sure you're signed up,
Yeah, that's,
and you will be getting a very badass trading card as a backer. So it's going to be something exclusive. A great art by Artsider. He did a killer design for the trading card. Sim helped with the layout of it. So that's going to be a complete exclusive. I'll never reprint that. I'll never give that away. The ones I'll keep out, the extras I'll keep for myself and family. So please go check it out. It's a very badass trading card, and it's a little thank you for backing.
And that
And there's
So,
a
like-
shark with a space Gatling gun.
that's right.
I mean, that should sell the
Yeah.
book right there. So
Exactly.
So,
that
like,
link-
in the future, there's going to be little ace bookmarks everywhere in the form of trading cards because you've got a bunch left over.
Hopefully not. Hopefully enough people sign up for the book that he runs out and have to have more printed.
Oh, yeah.
But that link is in the description down below, along with the Twitter @ for Edwin here. So go follow him on Twitter. Go sign up for the mailing list. Everybody keep an eye out. Now we talked about some of your influences for this character. What got you into comics to begin with? What was your introduction to comic books?
My first comic book was a Spider-Man comic. I believe it was a Deadly Foes of Spider-Man #4.
Oh
If
man,
that's
yeah.
so I ran across that at this like liquor mart that was close to where I lived,
Mhm.
and I was just kind of wasting time there with my mom, and then I saw the spinner rack and I saw Spider-Man. Everybody knows Spider-Man. I've never read a comic before, but I just thought, hey, this is cool. So I bought it, and then I just spent like a month reading it and rereading it and trying to figure out who all these characters were and what was going on. But it was so much fun after that. I was basically hooked. Like, I went back and started finding X-Men comics, which, I mean, absolutely head over heels with the art. Uncanny X-Men, Will Sportatio, Bishop, Storm, that cover, that iconic cover, completely just like hooked me from the first moment I saw it. I didn't know anything about these characters. I was like, I have to get this book. Then I looked at the art and it just blew me away, and that's really what started just like that addiction into comic books, man. I wanted to find out more about all these characters. I wanted to go grab back issues. I wanted to get into this whole X-Men world. It was really Really awesome, man. Like I still hold all those comics very near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, and you know, what era was that? Was that late '80s, early '90s?
Yeah, it's the early '90s, right around where X-Men #1 with Gene Lee
Yeah,
launched.
yeah.
That was it changed comics, man. Like
That
people have
was
no idea, like
yeah, it did.
what that was.
They printed a lot of those. I've worked for a comic store here locally, and we were digging through our back issues, pricing everything out. I had to run across at least one box of back issues of X-Men #1 from people that had brought their collections in to sell. Just from the 5 variants, everybody had all 5 of them, sometimes in multiples.
Hell yeah!
And I'm just like,
Happy
everybody had these.
everybody had they had multiple usually.
Yeah, well,
You
I
know,
mean, it was a #1. It was going to be worth money, Edwin. I mean, he's gonna come on.
All the money.
yeah.
It was
Honestly,
like the
like
Bitcoin of the early '90s.
it was totally like that was never like a draw to me. I never understood this idea of like, oh, this comic is gonna be worth something. Like,
Well,
no, I want to read freaking X-Men.
you can thank Action #1. You can thank Detective 27 and Amazing 15 for that, because those have always been the big ticket comics, the big 3 in collecting. Um, you know, $3 million I think Action #1 went for recently. You know, Detective 27 is like $1.5 million, and Action 15 I think went for $750,000. Just because they're so rare and old and out of print, the original printings of them are just so sought after and collectible. But it was a different time. Most people don't understand that once comics started getting worth that kind of money, because the old 10-cent comics were non-existent anymore, they had either all been burned or recycled or gotten rid of, that everyone started putting all their books in these little slips of plastic with the backer board. And when that first happened, like, a lot of people don't realize, but the first bags and boards actually ruin comics faster. Like, people don't remember, but they didn't use acid-free plastic and paper for the first sets of bags and boards that were put out for comic protectors. And it yellowed the paper, and it ate through the inks on the covers, and, you know, the inks would get fused to that glossy side of the backer board. And, even so, there were still so many of them in circulation that they just weren't worth that kind of money, regardless of how many #1s you had. Yet still to this day, people will come in and they will mass buy #1 issues every month and say, oh, well, you know, I'm just going to put this away in my collection and maybe it'll be worth money when my kids are grown. Like, nah, man, I'm sorry. Rat Queens is never going to be that popular. You know, I've got about 7 more Captain Marvel #1s that came out this year that you might want to pick up while you're here, just to get them off my fucking shelf.
Church, don't make my dreams just be dreams.
Make your dreams into memes, sir.
Yeah, that's funny. I troll this this YouTube channel. The name escapes me. I've had a long day, but
I feel you.
and he does a lot of the speculation, and every once in a while I'll go in the chat and I'll be like, he'll be talking about these different books that are gonna be worth something. I'm like, so guys, when is my copy of Youngblood #1 gonna be finally worth something?
Yeah.
Like I'll drop a different like random #1 that, you know, Spawn #1, something that's never gonna have any sort of value ever.
No,
And that's how I troll them all the time.
and it's funny. The actual thing is, it's not Spawn #1, but it's Spawn #9 that has a little bit of value because of the controversy with Angela.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't realize that. But yeah, even when you have like Deadpool, Uncanny X-Force, that one carries a little bit of value because of Deadpool. Not a lot, and usually that value falls away after the after the movie falls out of popularity.
Are you talking about New Mutants?
Was it not X-Force with Cable?
I think it was New Mutants. I'll have to double check that.
I'm hitting the Google.
Hit the Google. But I could be wrong, but if you know what, X-Force might be the first appearance of Apocalypse, is what I'm thinking about.
Yeah,
New
this is
Mutants.
New Mutants '98. Yeah.
Yeah, the cover debuted in February 1991.
Right.
I mean, any New Mutant comic that's worth its salt is currently watching its value degenerate.
Has anybody seen the movie?
No.
No, that's the thing. I was talking to a friend of mine last night about, hey, we should go see the movie, and then this morning, like 3 different videos, all very timely, all by various movie junkie, I want to be movie Bob type guys, going, this movie is so terrible. It's the worst thing that's ever been made. It's the sad end to the Fox X-Men era, and it's like, did you see The Last Stand? Because let me tell you, no one should be surprised if this is terrible.
That last X-Men Dark Phoenix movie was
Oh,
god
God.
awful. Like
Wow.
it was so bad. I really couldn't believe they actually released it.
Look,
Sophie,
have
I
never-
would put this in a vault. I
Sophie
would put this in
Turner,
a vault
right?
and never see the light of day.
That was the Game of Thrones chick, Sophie Turner's movie, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that movie was so bad that a redhead didn't turn me on.
I'm just
Look-
well. I was gonna say it should have
Like,
just
that's
been
how
called
bad it
"Resting
was.
Bitch Face" the movie, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I watched one of those videos this morning, and it pointed out something brilliant to me that I did not know. The guy that did Last Stand.
Yeah.
Right. So let me be clear. I'm going to use my strong language. I apologize. The guy who fucked up Dark Phoenix the first time,
Okay.
right,
Yes.
was given a bigger budget on a somewhat more stable platform of a movie, and told, "Fuck up Dark Phoenix again."
No. He looked at him. He's like, "I'm gonna make my own Dark Phoenix with blackjack and hookers."
We don't use that kind of language here, sir. How fucking dare you?
I'm just saying. I stand by the argument that even though it's stupid, even though it is some of the least important facets of the total arc for anyone that has ever read Dark Phoenix, we will never get a serious Dark Phoenix movie of any kind of quality until we have 2 things: the Hellfire Club and the Shi'ar Empire. If you don't have those 2 things in your Dark Phoenix, it's not Dark Phoenix.
What are your thoughts
But
on
that
Edwin?
sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, we could just take all these shortcuts and then make profit.
Right, because that's the lesson. That's the lesson that people should have learned from Marvel's success with their shared universes. Take shortcuts and not take your time. Of course.
Right. Well, I mean, to be honest, if you're going to do a Dark Phoenix movie, it is going to have to be almost a Marvel Cinematic Universe type endeavor. I don't think you need 20 movies to pull it off, but you need a good 5. Because Chris Claremont's arcs are just so, like, I mean, they're just so damn good. Like, there's a reason that we've just never had another run like that.
No, that's absolutely the thing. Is like Marvel did Infinity Gauntlet, right? And though it is not stated by anyone anywhere on any level, there's no corporate stuff going around. Logically, they could take Infinity War and Infinity Crusade and do those as well, right? And just build off of what they've done.
I don't think so.
Right?
And here's the reason.
No, I don't think it'd be successful. I'm just saying they could.
Well,
right?
And this actually goes into a higher point, though.
Okay.
Because as a comic
I got
book
a
fan,
higher point for you.
I bet you do, Panama Red. I, as a comic book fan, regularly get demonstratized and graded for saying it wasn't as good as the books. And as a comic book fan, I looked at the end of Infinity War and I said, you know what? That was absolutely nothing like the comic books, and it was good.
True.
Nobody has ever been blamed of saying, "Oh, well, that wasn't as good as the book," because it was as good as the books. It was just different.
Right. Now that's the thing. Is like what I'm actually getting at is that it doesn't matter how they necessarily do it, as long as they don't do it like they did. But if they did Dark Phoenix, it's got to be a multi-movie engagement. You just can't do an hour and a half Dark Phoenix.
No, you really shouldn't have done, the the origin of Apocalypse in one movie either. Like, Apocalypse should have been teased like Thanos over the course of several X-Men movies and then revealed as the big bad in the final one.
Well, because here's this about that, and then I gotta step away for a second while you get on to more important subjects. The thing is that they also should have known better, because they took one of the comic arcs I don't care for, and people think I'm a pleb for not liking it. They took Wolverine Origins, right, and they made it a single movie. And even if you put aside things like their horrible introduction of Deadpool, because holy crap, right? It's like, no, that storyline necessitates a somewhat broader perspective than you're going to get in an hour-and-a-half movie. It ain't going to happen.
Right.
Because you have to cover so much of Wolverine's life.
Well, Wolverine's origin story is best told in flashbacks anyway.
And that's having already stated, I don't like the Origins book. Okay, I don't think it could ever have been good. I think the revelations in it are shit. I truly believe
mean the James Howlett books.
Yeah, because it's like, right. All you could, because after 20, 30 years of blue balls about what is or is not Wolverine's true origin, nothing could live up to the expectations. It was never going to be good. And they've even had to go in and retcon it since. So, why bother?
Go do your thing.
Yeah, I shall return.
And if you have anything you want to send over to pull up on screen while we're just getting off into the weeds like we normally do, feel free to. I'm just known to take these tangents. Like I said, there'll probably be a Secret Wars and an Alan Moore reference before the show's over with, just because that's status quo here now.
I hate everything.
I could go ahead and tell you. Basically, we were doing an Alan Moore tribute month, and I let Ayrton pick a book.
Tell it from the mountain, brother.
I let Ayrton pick the book, and he picked Neonomicon. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that book, Ace.
I'm not.
Okay, basically, it's a book that can be summed up as Stockholm syndrome and fish rape. I'm not even joking.
The Alan Moore special,
yeah. The man knows.
You ever read his Peter Pan?
Yes.
Novel, yeah.
Yeah.
Next time I go to a Comic-Con, if those are ever going to be allowed again in the era of the coup, that's going to be my pickup line to chicks. Like, hey, can I give you the Alan Moore special, baby?
Isn't that basically, does this rag smell like chloroform?
Yes, but it's more fitting of the cultural scene inside the con.
Okay.
Right?
I always see it as create something that a lot of people enjoy, and then sign a bad deal to lose all your rights to it.
That's just a comic book creator special.
Yeah, man, but Alan seems to specialize in it.
Yeah, and then stay bitter about it.
More than anybody else, yes. It's like, I'm so tired of superheroes. They do nothing for me. Let me just write Supreme for 20 issues.
Yeah.
All right. That seems a little contradictory, but...
Well, I mean, Supreme is a deconstruction of the superhero that's not as bad as Garth Ennis's The Boys was. I mean, The Boys really took it off the rails. Garth Ennis is just like, what if all the superheroes did a bunch of coke?
You gotta love how succinct his pitches are, though.
Yeah.
It's basically what if Eric Clapton was a superhero.
So I couldn't get DM you over Discord, so I sent you a Twitter DM.
Okay.
For the image.
Fine. I think I can put that up here.
So while he's doing that, what are some of your writing inspirations, whether it's comics or novels or satire news sites or whatever?
Yeah, I'm mostly a comic book kind of person. I need the pretty pictures, But obviously Claremont was one of those writers.
Naturally.
Sad to say, Mark Wade was
Hey,
back when
Was.
before he went 100% nuts. He was always nuts, but before he went 100% nuts.
I have been well-rounded to defend Mark Wade and the fact that the man's a decent writer. He's just an asshole. Like, he's just a massive asshole. Like, Irredeemable. Have you ever read Irredeemable?
No, but I've heard good things about it. But and Kingdom Come, his Flash run, Captain America, JLA Year One, which with Barry Kitson is one of my favorite Justice League books ever. So I'm familiar with a lot of his like big two work. And then also before he resisted sales, Kurt Busiek was another one.
Okay.
Probably the biggest one over the past like 15 years has been Jeff Johns. I absolutely love his Green Lantern stuff. I'm a huge Hal Jordan fan.
Yeah, that's where I was actually first introduced to EVS.
Yeah,
Rebirth. You're in good company, both of us.
Rebirth through Flash, Aquaman was amazing.
The GL.
Yeah, so like I have an issue. I picked up the Blackest Night director's cut.
Oh,
it actually has his script in it and all his notes that he gives the artist. When I was writing, I was going through that like every time I'd write. I'd just be like, not to get anything in particular, but just to kind of see his detail and see how concise he was, and be like, there was time that he would give his artist, all right, like I need this fight scene here, go nuts, and he would just let his artist go nuts. And then other times he'd be like 100%, all right, I need this exactly like this, do it. And you can see how he structured everything, and it's amazing just going through it page by page. And then I have the director's cut, the script, and then I have the actual comic which I can flip through to see like how everything comes to life with it. I think it's really, if anybody's just a fan of writing or for comic books and everything, just wants to take a look at how to do it at a high level, track down. It's a bitch, but you should probably find it for cheaper now that it's in back issues. I think I paid like $6 for it, but yeah.
What, Blackest Night?
Yeah, the director's cut.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite. I'm a big Green Lantern Spider-Man guy. Like, if you have to pick one from each of the big two, I've always loved Spider-Man ever since I was wee. And the same thing with Green Lantern. There's just something about, an intergalactic police force that just patrols the galaxy and gets absolutely no recognition from their work. Like, Superman's constantly lauded by the Daily Planet. Batman has the respect of all of Gotham that aren't criminal bastards. Wonder Woman's a goddess who's worshipped by women. Green Lantern just like, yeah, I saved the world again, and everybody's like, who the fuck are you? Oh, your hometown got destroyed. I'm sorry. Don't you have something to be doing?
And to me, one of the great things about Rebirth is, for so many years, I've read so many bad takes on how many people just don't seem to understand who he is and what drives him.
Yeah.
And when I read Rebirth, I just thought, like, this guy gets it. He understands who Hal is. Like, he gets him down to the core in a way that I hadn't really seen probably since the 80s, really, when there was a Green Lantern Corps. Like, that was the last really good run where they got Hal's personality, his struggles, but also his attitude.
Right.
He's somebody who will never bend his will. He doesn't know how to. When Parallax asks him, why don't you just give up? He says, I don't know how.
Right.
And like, that's a moment where, like, if you don't understand, especially how badly Hal had been written the past like 15 years, you understand, like, this guy cannot be broken by fear itself. This guy's a whole nother level, man. This guy's one of the icons.
Well, yeah, and
he's been treated as a B-leaguer for a long time.
Well, people don't realize that in order for fear to actually overtake Hal Jordan, they had to retcon it to where Parallax actually infected him specifically. Because he was just so powerful that even though the Parallax was trapped within the battery and gave a weakness to the ring against the color yellow, he overcame that shit. He was just like, yeah, no, I'm just going to affect yellow things too, because why the hell not?
Oh, hey, we have Dillard Draws in the chat that says, "Hey, church, fuck you."
Hey, Dillard, fuck you too. I love you, buddy.
Yeah,
different-
man. His book looks great.
Yeah, Buckler. John Dillard's another one of those guys. Speaking of which, the cover by Donald DeLay is up on the screen there, or should I say the cover by Edwin Acevedo, who
Yes. I was talking to Donald, saying, Donald, I need this amazing picture of the ace fighting Akula. And, I just had to walk him through step by step until he finally delivered this.
right. I mean, you had to hold his hand while he drew the pictures to keep it steady and everything. Yeah.
No, Donald, not that way.
You don't know what you're doing. No, we love Dillard, even if he's terrible.
Dillard also says, "Brr, brr, brr, the Parawax or herder."
Well, we don't discriminate against our mentally challenged friends here on the show, so
That's true. We don't.
I mean, I'll let you keep coming on.
That's a fair point.
But no,
But mine's alcohol induced.
well,
His is beret induced.
we don't discriminate. We let all types on here. Lime's dad says IR special. The chat is degrading into degeneracy. Fantastic.
Yay.
Yeah, the cool thing about this cover is that it's actually colored by the colors from Brutus, Yo Gonzalez.
Okay.
So the colored version. It'll be up when I launch the campaign. You'll see the full money shot.
Yeah. Well, there's your sneak preview, ladies and gentlemen. Drink it in. Dillard's ink, or not Dillard, Donald's inks always look good. We've discovered the secret to Dillard drawing, by the way. What he does is he always starts out every piece that he draws with a large pair of breasts, and then the rest of the page forms around it. So, I'm assuming Donald does something similar, but I'm not sure how he works them in when there are no breasts on the shot.
That's too easy a joke.
Go for it. Take the low hanging fruit. Take the low hanging fruit.
The tits are his own.
That's right. That's right. We're equal discrimination here. We love everybody, so we can make fun of all of them. But no, so
I'll grab some low hanging melons.
I bet you will. Flapjack special. What have you done to me? I used to be so respectable, Edwin. I'm sorry.
There's no fun in being respectable.
When?
Full degeneracy is what I.
When were you ever respectable?
Before I met you. Well before I met you. Back when I was skinny and didn't have children.
You've told me stories. You definitely were not respectable. Don't lie to me.
Don't blow my cover, man. I'm fat and I have kids. I'm trying to get into heaven at this point.
If anything, you've been a bad influence on me.
Well, good. So, we've got the basis of the book down. Is there anything else you want to talk about the book before we just, fall into complete and utter just disparity? Because there are a couple of topics I wanted to bring up and ask you about, being an enthusiast of comics.
No, I did DM you the just a trading card. So
okay.
You can show that off just so people have an idea what they'll be getting. They sign up and back the book.
All right. Where did you send that to?
Your Twitter, yeah.
Tell me.
Double check.
There we go. Yeah, I got it. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Arch Sider did the pencils and the colors. The outline design and everything was by Sim. I'm going to be using that kind of template for all the future ones.
All right. Get this where I can put up. That looks awesome. And I do love that trading cards have made a resurgence.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
that's
that was, I used to talk. I used to the early Marvel and X-Men trading cards. I used to just pack after pack.
Nice.
Anytime I see one, just snag them up, man.
Now, is it just me? Do you guys both simultaneously think trading cards are some of the most pointless things ever, but they're so cool and you can't help but enjoy having them? I don't.
Yeah, every time
I don't
like
understand.
yeah, there's one of those things where like I'll get like a campaign, and somebody will have trading cards, and that's the first thing I look at. I don't even mess with the book. I'm like, book, throw the book. Trading cards,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you look at the trading card, you look at the damn stickers.
Well, it's twofold.
The bookmark.
Shit. Yeah,
it's twofold,
like,
right? Like it not only takes you back to that nostalgia place that you spent a lot of time in as a kid, where you had your folders and you had your your binders with pages, and you would just fill them up with trading cards.
You have the Lisa Frank folders.
Maybe. But you would just put all the clear pages with the 9 slots in them, and you would collect the entire run of trading cards.
Hell yeah.
And then,
hell yeah.
You would get the complete set, and then you would put it on a shelf, and you'd never look at it again. Until your friend came over, and you were like, hey, check out my collection.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, you've got this one? Have you got an extra? I need that one. And I'm like, well, I got an extra, but I'm going to need one of your holographic cards. Like, it takes you back to those days.
Don't start with the holographic
I'm
cards,
sorry.
man.
I'm sorry, real quick. Dillard in the chat says, before Church moved to his hometown, it was called Toad, Wait Until We're Married.
That's right. That's right. Now it's Toad Suck. That's correct. That's correct. Correct. I don't know why I'm friends with you people, honestly.
I don't either.
I don't know why I endure this kind of abuse.
Hey, this is tame.
But, no, the trading card looks great. The colors on it look amazing. Good contrast, great blacks. And then you get another, like, picture of that logo. That's what I do for a living. I'm a logo guy. So when you can incorporate part of the character into the logo seamlessly like that, oh, it's so good.
Yeah, man. Credit to Phil Diaz. He had How Comics on Lost Pages, and then was looking for an artist to tackle something, and his name came up, and I reached out to him, and he was doing a great job. I can't wait to show the pages that he worked on.
Okay.
The guy's going to be a name to keep an eye on. So.
Right. But the second part beyond the nostalgia factor of trading cards, Ayrton, is the fact that it's it's a collectible that you can kind of keep, and I don't really know how to explain it. Like it serves no function, it serves no purpose. There's no resale value or anything like that. Oh, Dillard's going to back this book when he gets his Obama check. Should be Monday. DM me a reminder. We'll sign up for the mailing list, buddy. It's not live yet, Dillard.
Yeah. Well, you got plenty of time to save up those Trump bucks.
That's right.
And back the Ace when it launches in late January.
Do you got an Obama phone too, Dillard?
So the first
you gave us a phone.
The first thing I wanted to bring up. Have you seen what I've dubbed the Captain Marvel challenge? Going around Twitter.
That awful picture of Captain Marvel?
Yeah, that a lot of
kept me up at night for the last couple of days.
Yeah, that people are tackling and like redrawing, and it's just like CG versus pro or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't even jerk off because that image is just so ingrained in my head. It's just so hideous.
I've seen it so much across the timeline. It's not a good
well, somebody had a hot take on Twitter earlier, and they were just like, you can't judge a work based on a single panel.
Oh, I saw that bitch.
And I'm like, didn't you get popular by reviewing Star Wars movies and critiquing them? Like, should you be held to the same standard of having to make a full fucking movie before you can critique one? Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Because yes, I understand the idea that artists are on a crunch time, but what apparently this guy didn't understand is, hey, not only did it get past the penciler, the inker, the colorist, and editorial, like nobody in that entire process stopped and said, hey, this looks like dog shit. Maybe we regroup and we're late a week on this book.
Yeah, that's probably because the people in charge aren't comic book fans.
Right.
They don't know what quality art is supposed to look like. They don't know, like, if you see somebody phoning it in or just not representing something right, they don't know that Marvel actually used to have standards.
Right.
Stuff wouldn't be published if it wasn't up to the Marvel standard.
Right.
These people, they don't know anything about that. They're like, oh, Captain Marvel, fight the patriarchy. Yes. And they just check mark any nonsense that goes across their desk, as long as it meets their criteria.
And
The only thing they'll stop is if you do cultural appropriation or something else that's against their code.
right.
The only thing they'll stop.
Just wait till you see my redraw of it.
Now you and I are of an age. I'm in my mid-30s, and we got into comic books around the same time. So I mean, at least our fandom is of an age. Do you remember the How to Draw the Marvel Way books? Like there used to be a what was called a house.
Those were fucking cool.
Yeah, that was called a house style. Like everyone had to be able to draw at least in the same vein as this. And nowadays it's just out the fucking window. You know, you just put chicken scratch down on the page, and as long as you put enough girl power in it, you're good. You know, down with Whitey. That's the message.
It's disgusting. How the downfall of how great Marvel was, man. Like, talking about a company that was really putting out tremendous stuff, not just in their big books, but even like their smaller books were quality. And just what it's turned into the last decade is just an embarrassment.
Well, from a historical point of view, like Marvel came in after DC was already established. And because they were so cutting edge and they were so risk taking and they were so fast paced, you had a company that went from nothing to overtaking the shares that DC was currently taking. Like they came in and they were just like, "Who's the big dog now, bitch?" You know, with titles like X-Men and Captain America and the Avengers and the Incredible Hulk and their shared universe and everything just being so clean and just so refreshing. Even though you had competing titles like Challengers of the Unknown in DC and the Fantastic Four, Marvel always knocked it out of the park because you had Stan Lee on writing and Jack Kirby on art. You know, you had these just amazing talents. And, you know, little known fact, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Dr. Seuss were all in the military together in the American, like, propaganda department. It was great. But, you know, you had these just amazing talents, and there was just so much care put into their work. And now it's just like, oh, well, you know, we got the book out. And I'm like, did you? Did you really? Is that what you
got
call
something
this?
out, that's for sure.
But
they got something out.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it just
me too.
it's so like it's just so disheartening to watch how something I loved so much growing up. Like I don't buy any big two books anymore. Like the Three Jokers I picked up digitally to read. But I just couldn't bring myself to actually go and purchase a physical copy of them anywhere because one, my local comic store doesn't sell comics. They were losing money month after month. So they were just like, fuck it, there's no point. You know, we make more money off of drinks than we do comic books. And that's a sad state of affairs. Secondly, you know, you've got just subpar product coming out that you have to commit to, what, 3 months in advance now?
Yeah, like and also order 100 variants.
Yeah. Like here's the Secret Wars reference, Eric. You ready?
Hold on. Let me get my gun.
I was really big into the Secret Wars just growing up because it came out in I think it was 87, 84, 87, something like that, and that was right around when I was born. So my father had collected the entire set, and I read them growing up. And then in the mid '90s, when I was really big into comics, Secret Wars 2 came out. And then after my father passed away, Free Comic Book Day that year was when they released Secret Wars 0 2015, right? So, in kind of a, I don't know, an in memoriam with him, I made it a point to pick up that entire thing. Now, it turned out to be 251 issues.
Ah, yes.
And that's not counting variant covers.
Mm-hmm.
So, I picked up as many of the variants as I could, but I started looking at some of them and they're like $10, $30, $100 because it was $1 for every copy they had to buy to get that variant. And I'm just like, I can't afford this shit, man. Not for a comic book that's not going to hold its value. You can go online now. I pick up some of them when they come on eBay for $10 and $20, some of the 1 in 100 variants. But it's so ridiculous that I don't understand.
Variant covers, biggest problem in the multiverse. Go vote it up.
I don't understand how it got to be like that. Like, if you're going to have a variant cover, it has to be a 1-to-1. Like, just offer it as a 1-to-1. Print half in one and half in the other, and not only will that raise both ships of saying, okay, well, there's a limited number of each cover, but you also have access to it, and you have a little bit of a choice, and people might buy both of them for cover price, whereas nobody's going to spend $20 on a variant cover just because it's a variant.
So that's actually, I don't know if Aftershock does, if it's 1-to-1, it might be 2-to-1, but at least for the series Sonata that I was following until the coup, it seemed like, at least at my local shop, that they always had about the same number of, like, both, or I think issue 1 they would have like 3 covers between the 2 volumes.
Right.
And if, it was fine, because other than that, just, on a moral basis, I would refuse to buy a variant cover unless that's all that was left on the shelf for
Right.
something I was looking for. But except, for like that, I was like, okay, I'll just, whatever, I'll get whichever one I think looks cooler.
Yeah.
Because you're not trying to rape the store by
Yeah.
forcing them to buy a ridiculous amount of books to get one of these variant covers.
Right. Well, that kind of sales practice only goes to help big box retailers with a huge online presence.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
Lime's dad in the chat says a solution to that could be change the cover for every printing. Yeah, that'd be a great solution because, your second printing would have a second cover, or your third printing would have a third cover, but it doesn't draw sales in. So what they're trying to do is you want that first edition, second variant, whatever, because that's the $20 book. When in reality, it's the same ink, it's the same paper, it's the same cover stock. It's just a different picture on the front of it.
It's artificially creating scarcity for something that's essentially worthless. It's basically what the Federal Reserve does, printing money.
Yeah.
Right? Am I wrong?
Let's not incite
pretty much.
Let's not incite our libertarian feelings right now. I don't have enough alcohol for that.
I'm channeling my inner Ron Paul.
Yeah, but you don't want me to start channeling my inner Ron Swanson, so shut the fuck up. I don't have a pound of
Ron
bacon.
Swanson is one of the greatest characters ever created.
He is.
By the way, when winter's over, I think I'm gonna, when I trim my winter beard back down, I think I'm gonna keep the Ron Swanson stash.
Yeah, you got to. but no, I don't know. How did you feel about the Carol Danvers Captain Marvel challenge? What was your take on that? As somebody who's in comics now, because I like to get different perspectives on it, because Ayrton and I are just fans. We don't create comics. I mean, I'm sure I could sit down and put pen to paper and come up with some kind of script and get it edited down to something that was cohesive, but it's not something that I've ever really done. So
Yeah, to me, I've separated myself from the big two for a while now. I've seen the how they basically betrayed everything they stood for.
right.
Like the biggest thing that drew me into these comic books was the art. Like I would pour over Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man pages
Mhm.
before I would ever read any dialogue. I would just look at the pages.
Oh,
Like I
yeah.
would just flip through it and just look at all the details, the panels, how different take Todd had on like a villain or whatever. And like the art, like I said, a big Will Portatio fan. Like his initial drawings of Bishop so badass, and like him drawing Archangel. So the art is my first love. Then you read the comics, you feel, oh, these comics are really well written, but that art is what helps take it to the next level. That's why I want to go back, even after I lost all my comics in a fire in the early 2000s. I've gone back and picked up a lot of these issues, not because they're worth anything, not because even like I miss like Marvel. It's just because the art alone on these books is worth something to me, and that's gone away. That's gone away for years ago. And to me, like I've stopped really going at Marvel and DC. The only thing I tell people is you gotta cut these people off, because you're not doing anything but extending their life.
Right.
People have rationalized to themselves over and over, oh, they might change. Oh, there's 3 good books out of 300.
Yeah.
That's not good enough excuse for you to still be putting
They
money
drew
into their
one
pocket.
straight line.
And
Yeah.
400 issues.
And the thing is they
They're
are
getting better.
like they also boost their sales number by reprinting actual good books. And the True Believers series or whatever, they're reprinting good books and capitalizing on sales from that and saying, "Oh, we had a great month." Well, yeah, because you put out 15 True Believers books that people actually wanted.
So, Church, I'd like to be promoted to head intern.
Okay.
Hey, where's my goddamn coffee?
Well, come get it. While I was putting together my mother's dinner, I have elevated to the next technological level. I got me one of them iPhone type, phones with a face, and I was following along on the stream while you guys were talking.
Oh,
Damn,
so it's like
That's better than I feel.
doing the job and doing this.
all right. So you caught on.
But
Yeah, man, big congratulations on supporting Apple products.
I know, right? Well, no, it's not even Apple. It's some knockoff called the ZTE. But no, the thing is I had the How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. And
Holy
you're talking
shit,
about
a half an hour ago already.
yeah, and you were talking about not buying books, and as you know, I was speaking of the idea that I hadn't bought a book in almost 20 years before I backed the Buckler. When I got my tablet a couple of days ago, I was given a free trial of Amazon's book service, and they promptly gave me Darth Maul and Batman White Knight. And it's like, those are the closest to mainstream books I have read in a long time, and I didn't even pay for them. They gave them to me to hope I would buy more.
Like, nope.
Right. Isn't that a great state of the comic book industry?
Well, I wanted to touch on something that Edwin was talking about, going over the Spawn books when you first get them. Do you remember the animated Spawn TV show?
Yeah.
From HBO?
Yes, I do.
The intro for that, where Todd McFarlane's sitting over that drawing board, inking pages of Spawn.
Mm-hmm.
That was the best part of that fucking show in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like just watching a master craftsman at his work. Like he does live streams on Facebook where he draws, and that shit just engrossing because we're looking at a man with so much talent in his pinky finger. I mean, he single-handedly changed the way that Spider-Man's webbing was depicted in comic books.
Yeah. To this day, his Mary Jane to me is Mary Jane.
That's correct.
Anytime I see anybody else draw her, it doesn't look right.
Well, it's because her boobs
to
aren't
me,
big
like
enough.
that's her. Her hair, everything. Like, you know, she looked like a supermodel.
Yeah.
So I remember like looking at the pages and seeing like shirtless Peter looking over at his hot wife in his shirt.
Yeah.
You know, the red hair flowing, and you're just like, Spider-Man's my hero, man.
That's right. I want to be just like him when I grow
up. like, sign me up, you know. Like, what are you doing?
No, man. That is
books for my red hair fetish.
That has always been my point as to why Joey Quesadilla is wrong. Okay. Because he's like, nobody wants Spider-Man to be married. We got to take away the Spider marriage so that you can bang the Black Cat. It's like, no.
Yeah,
no. Comic nerds loved the idea that one of them could get the supermodel wife, and she has to be a wife, because it's not just you banged a supermodel. It's you banged a supermodel, and she stayed with you.
I mean...
Well, not only that, but from an actual comic...
Banging a model is pretty cool.
Shut up, Aaron.
Just saying.
But, no, not only that, but, I mean, whoever remembers the M2 line with, you know, J2, the Juggernaut's son, and, you know, Mayday Parker, I mean, those were great books that Marvel just decided never happened. But... I mean, they've kind of, yeah, they came back around and they did the Spider-Man Renew Your Vows book.
Yeah.
And they brought Mayday Parker back, and that was okay, but
you mean corporate backpedaling the book?
Well, actually, what it was is they introduced the alternate reality where Mayday Parker was like being born into the Secret Wars storyline. And then after the Secret Wars came back, that was one of the realities that survived.
Hey, you already got your one Secret Wars reference for the show.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, my show, I can have two. But that was always more of a dynamic storytelling device because it also ties into Earth X, where Spider-Man is like this fat, retired superhero. And his daughter has inherited the spider powers, and she's got the Venom symbiote, and she's working to save the world while her dad just like, no, stay home, don't get involved. And I'm like, Peter, you're a little bitch. And by the end of the book, he goes to a costume shop to find a Spider-Man costume that doesn't fit over his gut and becomes Spider-Man again. That's why I always maintain that even though... you know, Mark Waid is credited as a writer for Kingdom Come. I don't give him full credit for that because if you read Earth X, it's apparent that brainchild of a story was Alex Ross's.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
like, you ever read Justice?
Yeah.
Amazing. Like, it is such a love letter. Like, if that's like the perfect way. Like, if we could just end DC. That should have been the last book.
Yeah. Yeah, if you were just gonna close the doors, that should have been the last book to ever come out.
Yeah, it's like it basically encapsulates everything about the DC universe in one little story.
Now, Edwin, this is something we actually haven't brought up in a while on the show. What is your view on legacy characters and keeping them running, like Batman for 80 fucking years? And Superman for 90, and Spider-Man for whatever 60 years at this point.
80 years for Spider-Man at this point. Actually, well, 75.
Okay.
Batman and Superman just turned 90.
Anyways, what are your thoughts on the continuation of legacy characters like that?
Yeah, to me, they're the heroes. You know, like I love all these. Like, you know, I love Dick Grayson. Amazing character. That girl's great. Tim Drake is cool. I love all like the second generation, third generation of heroes, but the world works when you have Batman at the helm. That doesn't mean that Dick Grayson can't be cool or he can't be Nightwing. He can't be his own hero. He can't tell his own stories. In the end, without Batman, it doesn't really work. He can't be Batman. He can't, you could tell like a future story where Nightwing leads the Justice League, and that's kind of cool. But Nightwing working with Batman to take down the Joker or whoever, hush whoever's in their way, that's comics to me. Anything that's different than that doesn't really work to me.
Yeah, but
That's how I've always been.
But don't you think after 90 years of the same character, you kind of start to run out of stories? Like, wouldn't you rather see like new, like exciting creative characters like the Ace get more prominence than like just recycling these same characters over and over for nearly a century?
I don't believe one stops the other.
I think
believe there's room for new creations, just like
well,
like when you saw the Image, kind of explosion. All these new characters be introduced.
I think that what the nuance that Ayrton's kind of missing here is the original discussion wasn't that the end of legacy characters needed to be portrayed, but maybe the end of ongoing series for legacy characters, to where when you were bringing in these new talents, that they had to prove themselves with characters that weren't Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And then maybe if they prove themselves,
I was going to get there eventually,
with their sales numbers and with their quality of work, then you put them on the once every quarter story that you put out 60 page or 180 pages of Batman in a block, as opposed to having an ongoing Batman story where it just kind of loses. Because when and I had this discussion on Twitter recently, Tom King's Batman run was nothing if it wasn't predictable. It wasn't good, and it was a disservice to Batman fans who buy Batman everything just because it's Batman. Whereas if Tom King had to write something like, I don't know, The Signal for for 3 months and make The Signal a good character that DC actually wanted to move forward with, then he gets his shot to tell his Batman story. But to to put Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Captain America, the Avengers, the X-Men into the hands of people that are just there for a social agenda, can easily weed that out by having a little bit of a buffer in between those legacy characters. And the only way to place that buffer is that if you move away from the idea that a legacy character has to have a constant ongoing title. That makes sense?
I mean, I get the argument. I just don't really. To me, that's a bigger problem from editorial than anything, because regardless of what these people are writing, the fact that you've allowed them to have control of your flagship titles and do whatever nonsense and push their own weirdo agenda instead of just making great comics, that won't go away just because these characters are on the sidelines. Whatever would be getting put out would still be trash.
Well, sure, but the thing is it's not going to be guaranteed sales. Like, Batman has a built-in fan base. You put Batman on a book, and it doesn't matter if Batman's on the cover and the next 22 to 24 pages are just pictures of dog shit in a bat costume. People will buy it because Batman's on the cover. But
hey, don't go leaking my idea to make a ton of money.
But
how dare you
put a Signal book out, and you've actually got to have a creator that is so excited about what they're doing that they drum up that fandom. You've got to have a book that looks so good in pre-production that is featured in your previews magazine. You've got to be able to pitch it to a point where people are like, hey, there's this book coming out, and I saw a couple of previews for it. Can you put it on my pull list for when it comes out in a month? And at that point, that's where you earn your bones. But while you have these ongoing characters, you have to have somebody to write them. You have to have somebody to draw them. And, as much as I hate to say it, Captain Marvel has become one of these legacy characters because I remember Marvel. I remember Monica Rambeau. I remember Captain Marvel when Captain Marvel was a good book. Just because they put another person in that legacy doesn't mean that the name doesn't mean something anymore. Like I said, I grew up where Monica Rambeau was my Captain Marvel, even though she had nothing to do with the Kree superpowers, right?
Right.
And she was a dynamic character. She was heroic, and she even appealed to women in the sense that my wife remembers her specifically because her costume had pockets.
Pouches, $1 a piece.
That's right. Call Rob Liefeld for your pouches. But I don't know. Legacy characters have always been kind of a sore spot for me because I think that they deserve the respect of having someone who deserves to write and draw them, not just we have to have them written. So give this guy Superman and Batman.
Yeah, like it feels forced. Like they're just kind of like pushing these characters out because people know the name of it, and they're hoping that they'll make money off of it when no one wants it. Like it's awful, right? I mean, like the Jonathan Hickman, the Powers of X and House of X was cool at first, and then it went to dog shit. What in like a few issues after they went past that?
I'm surprised that X-Men with swords failed to deliver.
No.
That's really right there. That's that's a shocker. I had money on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Marauders was the only book that like was still kind of intriguing. Like after issue 3.
Yeah, but let's plumb the depths of this cesspool as I return with a soda.
I'm gonna be plumbing some depths. Later after the show.
Your body's not ready, sir. I heard today. I saved this in my back pocket for later. This is an ideal time. That in Fantastic 426.
Hold on. Before you get there.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was doing that. I was opening a soda
because. Did you just make a gun cocking sound?
No. I just opened a beer.
Oh no, I was opening a soda because while you guys were talking, I went back for seconds on a whiskey and pepper pork loin because you can't ignore that food.
Oh, you lost me on the pork loin part. You should have just left it at the whiskey part.
Yeah, I figured that you live on alcohol directly into your bloodstream. So, no, seriously, in Fantastic 426, Dan Slott engaged in character assassination on Professor X, who is currently apparently going around wearing the Cerebro helmet because that doesn't look retarded.
In what's his name's body? What's the character's body that he's using?
Scott Summers, I'm assuming?
No, he's
Phantom X.
He's in Phantom X's body.
Right. Yeah, someone I've never cared about and never thought mattered. Because that's a Grant.
Phantom X is actually kind of cool.
That's a Grant Morrison character.
Phantom X is the only character in the what was it, 2015 X Factor that actually had a conscience. Like, they were all going to kill Child Apocalypse, and Phantom X like, no, I'll just kidnap him and raise him as a good person.
So
that's a lot of work,
So here's the deal. Franklin Richards, who's been a mutant for decades,
right,
is going to Krakoa, right, where the X-Men are living in some kind of extremist, isolationist commune murder cycle where Apocalypse is going to get to play out his survival of the fittest memes. And Professor X has contacted him to inform him that, no, Franklin, you wanted to be special when you were a kid, so you used your cosmic powers to alter your DNA to make you look like a mutant, but you're not a mutant, and you're not welcome on our special treehouse island. Fuck off, kid. And it's like, wow, that's totally how Professor X should behave, Dan Slott. Good job. That is the state of X-Men today, is the guy that was like, I'm going to open a school for everyone, and I'm going to teach people how to use their powers responsibly and be decent human beings, is like, no, kid, you're not one of the special chosen people because you're not a mutant. Fuck off.
Even though anybody that remembers the Onslaught era, let's take into account Franklin Richards is the only reason mutants fucking survived.
Yeah. And was a mutant at that time. And what's worse,
who doesn't want their own like orgy island that you rule over?
But here's the other thing. This is the fun part. Franklin Richards is the only mutant that makes sense. Franklin Richards is a mutant that supports the idea of how mutancy works expressly because his parents were altered by cosmic rays, so their kid was a mutant. No, I'm just saying. Their parents were altered, but were normals who gave birth to a mutant. It's like, okay, so people who have mutant children are somehow different. Done. Easy. Simple. Got it. No, we gotta screw that up. Because apparently, and remember, this is from the mind of Dan Slott, because mutants have to be everything to everyone, mutants are also a stand-in for trans people. For people of trans. Whatever the
people of trans.
whatever the acronym is supposed to be.
Excuse me, I need to go get a rope for no particular reason.
No, you drink the bleach.
I'm putting that in the chat. Let's see, hashtag people of trans.
You know what?
On Twitter, people.
I haven't done this in a while. Hey guys, Rune Knight specifically.
Ooh, not me.
Rune Knight, I need you to hear something, buddy.
Okay.
You know, now that we promoted you to head intern.
Oh. Is it?
You're fired.
Yeah, that'll skip. Because I haven't heard that before.
Jesus Christ. People of
are you going to need somebody to escort the intern from the building?
Security!
Funny, I knew a girl back in high school whose nickname was Head Intern.
Oh, alright. Jesus Christ. What even is this show anymore? By the way, back the Ace when it comes out. Sign up for the mailing list. Follow.
If you enjoy these shit shows, please sign up for the mailing list, and you'll get plenty more.
And by the way, if you don't enjoy these shit shows specifically, sign up for the Ace and actually get good content.
And I've train wrecked plenty of streams.
But I don't know, to kind of cycle back to the Ace and get us a little back on target. We were talking about
yeah, on target.
We were talking about
maintain visual scanning.
That's right. We were talking about Death's Head earlier, and I've been racking my brain this entire show, and I can't remember what it was. But I remember reading a book where the Death's Heads were actually guards for something. Anybody know what the hell that was?
Oh, crap.
Like they were house guards, I think, for like Doom or something, maybe.
That doesn't sound familiar to me.
I'll have to dig it up.
Let's see.
Victory.
Hold on, I got it.
Got it. Oh
let's
no, they were on
see.
Sakaar. That was
That-
Planet Hulk.
Oh, okay.
That's
Well, I
what
found
it was.
something totally different.
No, they were guards on Sakaar. That's what it was for Planet Hulk. So that was where I was first introduced to them, and I was like, I know I've seen this before. So I went back and I actually picked up some of the Death's Head 2 and 3.0 books from the back issue bins, and here's the reference everybody else was waiting for. That is where I discovered Rom the Space Knight for the first time. 3 for 3, baby! 3 for 3!
God damn it.
But yeah. No, the Death's Heads and Darkhawk and all of those just like little minor books that didn't really fit in with Marvel's like main canon. That all led me down a rabbit hole to the Skrull Kill Crew. Do you remember those guys?
I do.
I love that shit.
Also, Shield, if you're listening, Church is secretly a dire wraith. Can we get a kill team on that?
Absolutely not. I'm cleared by shield and sword and hammer.
Damn, son.
But no, Ace, were you familiar with the Skrull Kill Crew, the group of miscreants that were infected by Skrull hamburger meat that tracked Skrulls down?
Nah, I must have missed out on that.
That was fantastic shit.
And he's not being hyperbole while saying that.
If you're interested, hit me up after the show, and I'll send you some completely legitimate digital copies.
Yeah, we get a lot of totally legitimate review copies of books.
Also, sir, in your acronym soup, you didn't name Cradle,
Oh,
which is an actual thing.
I'm not sponsored by those guys. They don't matter. But
Because you're not a teen villain. If you were a teen villain, then it would matter.
What about Pot, the people of trans?
oh, God damn it.
Look, can we just all just go join AIM? Oh wait, no, I don't want to go work for AIM. They have a Trump stand-in.
I hate all of you. I'm just gonna replace my co-host with my 3-year-old. How about that?
So no difference.
Oh no,
Yeah, the way technology works, though, you know.
I mean, I'm gonna say she's better at it than you guys are. She's got a better streaming setup than Ayrton does.
I have the best audio setup out of anybody in this call.
Probably.
I have a pretty good audio setup. You advise me what to get.
Yeah, yours is decent. Mine's just better.
Oh, okay.
Oh man. So you said you've been sidelined from the Big Two for a while, and we talked about Blackest Night titles. Knowledge. What were your of the Big Two or of the smaller publishers? What were the titles that you were really into back before the industry decided that it hated people?
When I came back to comics, like in the early 2000s, you know, I was mostly all DC. So like Green Lantern was really the big book that I followed. Although like the Green Lantern Corps, then eventually Flash. I was really heavy. Like I would check it out Marvel every once in a while, but like I said, I'm a huge X-Men fan, and to me, I consider everything that's happened since the new Coke X-Men to just not be X-Men. You know, to me, the X-Men died back in 2000 once Morrison took over. So, and then Spider-Man after losing his marriage. I mean, what am I rooting for? This guy makes a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
It's just like, what am I doing here? Like I said, the only issues I picked up some Nova. That was really good. Abnett and Lanning. And some of that.
Marvel.
But yeah, to me, it's very slim pickings in the last 10 years.
Well, Marvel Intergalactic stuff has always been hit or miss since since the Kirby stuff with Thanos and all that stuff. Like it's really hard to keep up with stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy and Nova Corps and stuff like that, because it's almost like an afterthought to Marvel.
That is, though, an example of just how far things have diverged. Back in Civil War One, like in the aftermath of Civil War One, Tony Stark sat down with I want to say Peter Quill or a Nova, somebody important for Cosmic, and tried to throw his dick on the table and be all like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And they were like, oh yeah, Tony, we're just up here running things, making things work, keeping the galaxy safe. What have you been doing? Putting a giant lampshade on how much of a piece of shit Tony Stark has been or had been to that point in the last couple of years.
Sorry, I just slapped my dick down on my table.
Exactly. And Marvel doesn't even have the ability, it seems, to have that level of referential self-awareness where they can't even suggest that maybe a previous character action was not the preferred one.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I've always kind of been hit or miss with the intergalactic stuff. Like I said, even Rom Space Knight was right there on Earth. Like, he came to Earth to basically fight a group of villains that nobody else in the Marvel Universe knew about. And he was constantly bombarded with other people being like, hey, you're a monster, because nobody else realizes that the people he's killing are evil aliens set to try and overtake them. But when you get out in space, I
just want to say, that defense does not work in court, I found out.
It doesn't. But it basically just, Sim in the chat says, 2 underrated series I love from back in the day were Alien Legion and Dark Star. Epic had some awesome stuff. Epic was the Marvel Sci-Fi department and creator-owned, yeah. Epic had some great titles, and it was the way that Marvel separated stories. And if I'm not mistaken, there was another imprint that was like the New World or New Earth or whatever, and they had a Superman and a Batman knockoff. Like, Darkhawk was the Batman knockoff, if I'm not mistaken. Like, that was his original intention. Let me make sure I'm right on that.
Maybe.
Earth, Marvel. No, not the Marvel family.
Uh-oh.
What happened? Who died?
I'm still here, I think.
Yep, still here.
I didn't go anywhere.
Oh, Earth. Earth X? No, that was the Alex Ross.
I like the Supremes. They're a good group.
It was New Universe is what it was.
Fucking Marvel, their new bullshit, New Mutants,
Starbrand,
all new, all different. Fucking
Starbrand was the
new anal prolapse, whatever the fuck they're coming out with now. Jesus fuck.
Yeah, Starbrand.
Use a different adjective. God
Night
damn it.
Mask was the Batman knockoff. Night Mask. But they also had characters like Starbrand, and Quasar. Quasar got folded into the mainstream Marvel universe. Kickers Inc., which were like superpowered football players, which was amazing. Like, it was just so bad.
Wait, okay. Can this be our next review book?
Sure.
I'm just saying.
I need to read this.
Well, we could just do a new universe review session where we talk about.
No, I just want to read about superpowered football players.
Okay.
I don't care about the rest of it.
I'm just gonna throw out there. Biggest problem in the multiverse for next time is folding in shit to the universe that doesn't belong.
Like Miles Morales in 616.
like Miles Morales,
Hey,
like Black Nick Fury,
God damn it.
like
Wait, Nick Fury. What are you
Nova.
talking about?
Yeah, Nick Fury being black is from the Ultimate Universe.
No, they
Black
actually
Nick Fury.
they actually fix that. They actually fix that by.
No, I know,
Okay.
but I still find it bullshit
I
that
don't
they
know.
had to take the actual Nick Fury and screw him over and put the Watcher's eyeball in his head so he could be a mumbling mute, so that they could have an evil version of himself running around as a total life decoy. It's sloppy to include movie stuff.
But it's Sam Jackson, motherfucker.
I love Sam
Yeah,
Jackson, and I
go
want
look
Sam
at the
Jackson
live
in
show
Sam
chat.
Jackson's format. I don't want Sam Jackson replacing extant characters.
Go look at the live show chat, and you'll see a compelling argument.
Is it basically fuck you, Rune?
No. Just,
Okay, because that's a solid argument.
just go look.
But
This is my new go-to reaction meme.
no, the new universe had some, had
Yes.
some terrible shit in it.
Indeed.
But Starbrand and Night Mask were two of the characters, and they were eventually folded into the mainstream Marvel universe. But the new universe was basically a new shared universe within Marvel Comics. So that hasn't been a thing since '89, though. I discovered those in a back issue bin too, and I'm like, who the hell bought these to sell them back in their collection?
Here's a sideline deep dive. Micronauts.
Oh, hell
Micronauts
yeah.
were good. I love Micronauts.
No, I know. I'm not saying Micronauts are bad. I'm just saying Micronauts ain't got no luck as a Marvel property.
Well, that's because their toys didn't sell well.
Yeah.
Oh, Don Chen just says, hey, wanted to pop in and say hi. When you mentioned Kickers Inc., I think I needed to go. Oh, Don Chen. Are you familiar with Don, Edwin?
Name sounds familiar, but
He's,
I can't really place it. For
He's
anything.
the adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters guy.
Oh yes, I know.
He's a big fan of the show. I had those
Yeah.
had those titles
That's
in my
awesome.
store, and those were so bad. Yeah, leave it to Ayrton to pick out the worst books.
It's my thing.
Yeah. But we'll,
Look, man, there's something about like those kind of weird indie books that 5 people remember. If I'm in like a back issue, like there's something about anytime I see like the long boxes of back issues, it like speaks to my soul. So it doesn't matter what I'm
hell
doing.
yeah.
Like, if I'm looking for comics or not, I'm just like, well, it's there for me. that must mean I have to rumble through this.
The more ridiculous it looks,
Yes.
the more I'm willing to buy it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I've said before on the show that I like to read not off-brand, but less central books if I have to read the big two, expressly because the people who are on them want to be there and they give it their all. The more corporatized the book, the more they try to move the book to tentpole, the shittier it gets. My best example being, I love me some Moon Knight. I even love me some Weird Moon Knight when they put different people on them who have wildly different interpretations. But Moon Knight should never have been in the Avengers. Ever.
Don likes your card. Just for the few people left that might not have seen it, I'm going to pull the cover back up before you guys get out of here. You got to check the cover out for this.
Pull that
book,
back
Don.
out.
Stairs motherfuckerly. Yep. That's that is the reaction. Let me get the cover pulled back up. Check this out, Don. This is a Donald DeLay cover for the Ace book. So, a fellow Don did this. That's the cover for the Ace by Donald DeLay.
It does look fantastic.
Yeah, I did a great job. And like I said, you'll see the fully colored version on the once on the campaign page. I've been slowly setting that up. So a lot of tiers, a lot of stuff. Got to double and triple check,
Yeah,
make sure everything's right. But
sure.
Nice.
yeah, I'll have a lot more. I'll have at least 5 pages fully like colored. Put up on the campaign page.
Okay.
So,
So,
what's the experience of writing a comic like for you?
uh, so it's been a long one. Like I said, like the initial idea of just kind of writing down like something succinct. You wanna I have this idea and this idea. No, you just want to tell one idea. So I had to like break it down and be like, all right, what do I want to tell? What story? Where do I want it to start and where do I want it to finish?
Right.
Then once you kind of have that idea, then you start kind of filling it in. Then after that, I worked with Steve Dye for a little bit uh, before he had to really bear down with Vestige and a lot of other stuff he was doing. He took some time to help me kind of get it into comic book form. That's another process, instead of just writing that this outline that you have to do it page by page, panel by panel, dialogue, descriptions for the letterer, all these kind of little things where so I'm just like revising. I've seen the same actions over and over and over again until it's right. So
Right.
it's like I said, this is the process where you just like it starts here and then you just keep refining it. And eventually until I finally, the main story is already colored and lettered. I just have a couple of tweaks as far as color goes and stuff that need to be done.
Now,
But
So-
yeah, it's like
I have an actual question this time. So I'm not a writer in the least amount, but I do write music, and my process of that is I just kind of like start plucking around on my guitar until I find something that sounds cool, and kind of get a flow going. Like, is kind of like the story writing process similar like that? Do you just kind of like start putting down ideas and kind of attach things together and get like a flow going together, or is it kind of like chunk by chunk, like you kind of like have your ending point, you work back? Do you have your starting point and work forward? What's kind of that process like?
for me, usually it starts with like a loose idea. Like when I finished the script for volume 2, which I sent to Canales. I want to get his thoughts on it.
right.
Uh-huh.
So I knew where part 1 ends, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So you have part 1 ends, and then all right, so it picks up in part 2. But I had some story ideas that I wanted to tell. So instead of me picking it up right directly, I needed something else in between. Like this will make no sense because I have to be like, vague.
Right.
But let's just say like,
Right.
it has like an ending, right? A definitive ending. Something happens, and when you
Yeah.
expect to read the second volume, you expect it to take place on the next page. But it doesn't, because I needed to fill some gaps and introduce some characters. But then you're
Okay.
thinking like, I don't want to go too far left where the book doesn't make any sense. You have to find a way in chapter 2 to like introduce these characters but bring it back around. Do it in a
So you
succinct manner.
So you got to keep like a tight like zig when people think you're going to zag, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Exactly. So that was what took the longest. The first part of chapter 2 was the thing that took the hardest. I needed like a little hook, a little twist to kind of get it right, and then I could tell the rest of the story because I had a good idea of like where the second chapter ends, like basically beginning to the end of volume 2, which would be like part 2 of the book. So
Okay.
the first part was tricky. So that took a long time, just me kind of running around with it. And then once after that, you do have to see the flow. To me, if I'm not feeling writing, I can't write.
Right.
Like if it'll just be trash.
Right.
So I have to be in that
I get it.
state of mind.
I've been stuck on a song, on like one song for like 8
Yeah.
months.
And if
No,
it's not right to me, like I push it. I'm like it's like playing poker, man. I just push it away from the table. I gotta take a lap. I gotta just And then once you're kind of feeling it and you start, I have a lot of notes for everything basically. Like I have character notes, descriptions, where the story wants to get, dialogue notes I'll make. And then once I finally sit down, I'll have so much stuff that it becomes really easy. Like it becomes like I've already thought about all this. I've already thought about character does A, B, and C, and then character two responds and he does this, and I already have the dialogue. And so when I wrote, basically, I wrote chapter two. I wrote basically all of it out like over a day because I already had all the pieces set up, weeks
Nice.
prior. I had so many notes and
so you
different
kind
things.
of
I just
have so you kind of have like your basic like character arcs and like how you want the story to progress. It's just the details you go back in and kind of like tweak as you're going.
yeah, a lot of dialogue
More or
tweaks,
less.
a lot of descriptions for the letter. That's another thing. Like
Right.
I learned from reading for the Blackest Night. One thing that I got was Jeff Johns was really meticulous with his notes.
Yeah.
Just like this character's this like different anything that I don't want my artist to really have to really figure out what I'm trying to tell him. Everything is really kind of broken down in a very kind of simple way where he can just take this and do his own thing. Like it's not rigid enough where he has to draw every little thing. Like there's room there for him to breathe and come up with his own stuff. And the thing is, Canales surprised me in the first book. Surprised me with different character designs for little story things he did. So I want him to be able to just breathe and do his thing on it. So that's why I want the script to be a certain way. It has to have all these specific little things in it. That's why I have to revise it over and over again until it's right.
Okay. I get that. It's and again I'm gonna bring this back to music. It's like when I am writing a song, which has been forever since I've actually done it,
Yeah, I know. It's been forever.
Okay. The writing an original piece versus rearranging something is much different. But it's
I'll take either one at this point. Sorry. A touchy subject.
It is a touchy subject.
I don't want to touch it.
I'm about to spend like $500 on some more music equipment.
What? Why do you have to spend money? You just need to strum some guitar into a microphone.
Because
because it makes you feel good to spend money on music equipment, right?
No.
McCartney, I know you like to smash them, but your growing ukulele addiction is not a musical investment.
Anyways, but the songwriting process that's seems fairly similar. You have your story and the feel you want, and you kind of want to you want to make sure that the listener in this case can kind of like follow along with what's going on, and it's super fucking annoying, especially when you just kind of get stuck in that roadblock. Like, oh, what do I do now? Like, should I do this? Should I do that? You're trying like 17 different things at once, and none of them make sense. Right? Like, I'm assuming that kind of happens with like story writing.
That is actually where I am right now. If I can jump in real quick,
Yeah.
I'm working on a script and I'm at a scene transition and I haven't moved forward at all because like where it is a solid stop, and to move on to the next subject, it's got to be spot on, and I just cannot figure out what the right thing is to say.
Right.
So we're coming to a close on the show here. Edwin, what I like to do here is give the guests the opportunity to give an elevator pitch for their book in the final few minutes here. Let everybody know what they can expect and what you plan to do, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so The Ace is the story of a young man looking for purpose who discovers the remains of a shooting star that changes his life forever as he transforms into an armored hero who becomes the most sought-after object in the entire universe. It is a throwback to the early 90s comics like Darkhawk, Sleepwalker, and Death's Head 2. It's got a lot of action and some interesting characters, and I think I may be a little biased here, but I think it's Canales' best work. and he's done great work. I'm a big fan of his stuff for SOS and Iron Sights and everything. But I think, along with Theo Gonzalez colors, you're really going to see something different from him. And like I said, I have a really bunch of talented artists. Sweens, he's been sending me pages from the epilogue. That's a different story. That's going to be a bit of a mystery piece. I compared a lot to kind of like how Lost, they'll drop things like the hatch, and you kind of have to piece together what the story is. It's a really interesting piece, and it looks great. Like Sweens did a tremendous job on it. And I also introduce Angelique. She's going to be the main protagonist for Volume 2. And how comics is really going to surprise people and blow people away. And we have this badass Donald DeLay cover, which is going to be fully colored again by Theo from, he's the colorist who did Brutus. I know Brutus is shipping out right now, so I paired that team together again and to just make a great combination, man. And right now we're just trying to push for the mailing list, trying to get as many signups as possible so we can get you this badass trading cards by Artsider. And, it's going to be launching late January. So come hop on board and join the ride of the Ace.
Great. Fill your taxes out early,
that trading
folks.
card is so sexy. I want to get it tattooed on my ass.
Your ass is running out of real estate, though. But
it is. I have an Arby's sponsorship back there.
Hey man, get those Arby's bucks, man.
And in closing, I'll go ahead and we play the trailer one more time. And thank you, Edwin, for coming on and talking to us about this Room Night. Ayrton, thank you guys for joining us again. I don't know why I thank you, because you're both awful, but anyway.
That's true.
And
yeah, man, thanks for having me on. It was fun.
Dillard, we can't end the show with queer bait because you're not on the stream, so maybe next time.
Well, I mean, is there
a point.
Is there going to be an after show?
If you guys want to.
Because, I mean, then we can drag Dillard in here and make fun of his hat.
Well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and play the trailer, so.
All right.
Go ahead and get us out of here, Ayrton, so that we can.
Oh, okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. Check out my channel tomorrow, Ayrton McCartney on YouTube, for hopefully I'll have a show tomorrow if my guest gets back to me whether he can come on. If not, I'll do something. And thank you, Edwin, for showing up. Dillard, you're all right. And good night, everybody.
Follow Edwin on Twitter, follow his YouTube, and definitely sign up for the mailing list on the Ace, launching late January. Thank you, everybody.
When a young man in search of purpose stumbles across a shooting star, his life is altered forever. The alien remnant transforms him into the Ace, a super-powered armored being with wondrous capabilities. The Ace is a throwback to early 90s Marvel comics like Darkhawk, Sleepwalker, and Death's Head 2. This is the story of an average Joe thrown into alien and extraordinary circumstances. As he struggles to get a grip on his newfound abilities, bounty hunters from outer space come to collect his prize. The Ace is bringing the fun, weird, and fantastic back to comics. Don't miss out. Learn the origins of the latest sci-fi legend. The Ace.
Grammarly helps make your writing clear and concise, no matter where you are. Compose a cover letter